is saying that this project is important to counter, as as taking a lower riparian advantage, right? Like to counter this Chinese dams are in Tibet, right? So, but then there has been no transparency as to what, as to like the capacity, as to like the technology, the capacity that China is developing, right, to produce that amount of 60 gigawatt of electricity. But it is kind of portrayed as if it's a single dam, which is going to be a water bomb of sorts, for like India and Bangladesh and Assam, like as in Northeast and Assam and Bangladesh. So we are trying to debunk that whole thing. So we also want to appeal to you all on this platform. Our press release is talking about the highlighting on that issue. So I'll just briefly talk about what we have gathered, across like research, newspapers, and from international independent sources about what is being built in China in its electricity production, right? It's of an integrated nature and of multiple reservoirs. It's not a single gravity, standing at like 1,000 meters, right? Anyways, that's technically not possible or feasible to like have a 60,000 megawatt one singular project, right? So what I've been trying hard is to debunk this thing, right? Like, how is it even possible that a 11,000 megawatt will be able to counter a 60,000 megawatt dam upstream? And to be more precise, Brahmaputra originates. It only the 30% of Brahmaputra comes from Yarlung Sampo. Most of its tributaries are well within India, including Dibang, which you might have heard of. Dibang, Siomi, then there is Yamna. Then there are like hundreds of tributaries of Indian glaciers within India, which makes Brahmaputra the river that it is, which is a huge river, right? In terms of its mass, and volume. So it's not feasible. So we appeal in our press release. One of the appeal is to the government of India is to publicly disclose information of what's happening in China, right? Like we need that, because clearly all the technical experts, including Indian scientists, right? Like also like there are NSA policy, NSA, our Brahma Shalindri sir, even he's written a lot about this, right? But even quoting him and also other scientists and experts and independent experts, they are saying that this is not going to impact the Indian, the Indian downstream, right? So that's why we are very confused. We are very confused, honestly, because we have not personally heard it from the central government that it's a Chinese project. We have only heard these statements continuously, repeatedly from the state government, right? So, so I feel personally that state government is making it up, lying, and at the same time they're also giving paramilitarizing us. You must have seen, I don't know how many of you are aware of the amount of troops they have deployed in Siang. So the last update, they had deployed about 11 companies, which means per company has 80 personnel of army in it. Like, so they are deploying CRPF, the the CRPF, the ITPN, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, and all the other state police are involved, as in station in our villages, in schools, in tourist lodges, in our ITIs. They are being stationed there, living with the villagers, right? It's creating a panic situation. You can imagine an armed personnel with like heavy machinery, right? Like station like in 2-3 companies, which is like 300 to 400 people in a village of a population of, let's say, 1,000 people, right? It's already a ratio of like 3 to 7, right? So that's why it has become very intensive. Protests have taken place, which have also led to road blockages. In the most recent developments, like road blockages have happened. We have also had like not physical but lots of verbal confrontation, right, with district administration. People are like almost physical. It's getting very volatile. That's why me and Ibo's suggestion is that we really need to, I mean, Ibo has been suggesting that we need to like contact the Delhi authorities, and that's why we are here today. And other surprising things that are happening, which I personally did not expect, is like suspension of Gauburas. So we know that the Gram Sabha mechanism is applicable in Arunachal as well, right? That's how we also give our consent to projects. The whole Gram Sabha resolutions take place, and then the Gram Sarpanch, and all the village authorities authorize the projects, right? Like be it anything linear or national. But then in this case, there is no clarity whether it's really of importance what's happening in China. And on the other hand, they have put like thousands of troops, militarized us. They are suspending, the district administration, Siang. DC sir has suspended just recently one of our Gaumburas of the affected area where the pre-feasibility report, which means the survey for the dam, the pre-feasibility report is supposed to happen. So they are forcefully like conducting it. They have stationed like hundreds of state and central troops in the drilling site where the drilling is supposed to happen. So also that is when one of major protests happened, where physical confrontation happened, where there was a bridge, road blockages happened. So what I'm trying to say is we don't want to escalate more than this. We don't want like unnecessary confrontation with government authorities, because we are not like against the government, fundamentally speaking, right? Like we are not against the government, but even basic thing as like you have to basically consult us. That is right. That's the procedure of any clearance, right? Which is completely violated. Like I said, point number first, Gaon Buras are being suspended. Second, paramilitary has been deployed in all three districts of Siang, right? Where all like I'm from the Adi tribe, we are major Adites, and we are the like the indigenous inhabitants of the Siang region. There are also Idumishmis, and then Kambas and other minorities, including government officials and business holders, right? Like we don't just have business holders from Arunachal. There are many from Punjab, Bihar, or etc. New Delhi, right? Like so. So what I'm trying to say is the total number of, as per the census 2011, total number of affected population would cross 1.5 lakhs people, which includes at least a lakh of the local indigenous population. And I'm not including the data that is, let's say, non-locals who are residing them or business holders, right? I'm not including their data, but as per 2011 census, the whole district comprises of approximately 1.5 lakhs people, right? And that is the number of people who's going to be displaced. So that's why who is our state Congress president, had just met our leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi sir, and then submitted their memorandum, which was, if you have read about it, they are highlighting this whole thing, right, of the seismology, the seismicity of the seismic nature of the project, right? Because Arunachal, we are in the eco-sensitive, really fragile seismic 5 zone. So anything dam, we are not against development projects, but I think I personally support more more integrated projects, more like smart grid, decentralized grids, which these are more sustainable concepts that government had initiated back then, right? Like for example, like 500 kilowatt, hydels are running. Those are more than enough to supply electricity, right? And we already have existing 2088 megawatt Debang multipurpose dam. We have the 405 coming dam. We have 2000 megawatt the Subansiri dam, which are all currently commissioned or going or operational. Which are producing more than enough electricity, right? But then due to the whole centralized nature of the power supply, the power is not able to really, come out of the state to be supplied to Assam or other states or even within Arunachal, right? Because of the terrain of the place, right? And the weather conditions, there's like high precipitation, it rains almost throughout the year, right? So the electricity supply cuts short. I think one thing good thing government of Arunachal has done is to kind of look into the power grid systems now, right? Which is a very recent news, just like a week back. They are looking into that, which is, so these are things we really are with the government. We are okay with doing all this, supplying decentralized electricity, right? Like power into power grids. We are okay with all that, but not with like displacing us from our ancestral land, completely violating all the democratic procedures, and in fact even instigating violence, right? Like you mean paramilitarizing innocent villages. You cannot guarantee that we will have stability, peace in such a in such a circumstance, right? I cannot guarantee that violence may happen or not happen, honestly speaking, because if you have, like, we have been protesting since the 80s. The Brahmaputra board had proposed this dam like since the 80s, right? Since then till now it's been 50 years of protest, like continued protest, very. But let me assure you, it's peaceful protest. We are not targeting any individual or any politician, or we don't want to like do any harm to anybody while this happens. But we must not be instigated, right? Time and again now it has become very forceful. They have like completely paramilitarized us. They are like suspending our gamburas. The Ibo has been personally, he's been arrested more than 3 times now, and I have been like, there is a case against me. I have like more than 10 FIRs on me, so so things like that is being normalized in our part of the region, right? Which is very very sad. And I personally, yeah, I really want to like appeal to our civil societies who have, actually there have been like many civil societies who have helped, who has been with us. That's why we are even able to like come here in front of you and present, our grievances, right? So we want to highlight all these points. I'll just read out some of the points from the press release, and we'll hand you the copies now. It's getting printed. Um, some of the very key points that so the what I'm saying today is like all you know this is all not just my personal opinion. We have prepared a proper press release contributed by members of our Siang Indigenous Farmer Forums, like our seniors, elders who are back home, who have, asked us particularly to uh, give this in writing to you. Um, I will just read it out. It's a two-page press release, a bit longer than what was asked of because of the nature of things. So key issues we want to highlight is one thing that is happening, which is a gross violation of our constitutional right, is suspension of our Gaoburas, who are opposing the dam. I will even give you the letters that, the DC order. I can give you, and any document you want, we have it on our phones. We can give you soft copies. The first issue is suspension of Gaoburas. Second is arbitrary detention and arrest of protesters and members of SIFF. So SIFF, Siang Indigenous Farmers Forum, who are we? I'm the legal advisor. He's also our legal advisor. So we are here to place these points. First, suspension of Kampuras. Second, arbitrary detention and arrest of protesters and members of SIFF. We are all project affected families. The members of SIFF are all from the project affected families. And the point number 3 is, this is a very important issue. False cases, charges, and criminalization of leaders, including leaders of SIFF and ADISU, which is Adi Student Union, right? Who are opposing this at the front as well. So what the government is doing, it's playing a very ugly game, right? Like, for example, they have charged on me as well, like non-bailable offenses, criminal offenses against me, which I don't want to disclose as of now, right now. But then criminal offenses against me, which did not even participate in, which I was not a part of, which didn't even occur, which incident didn't even. For example, like, I have been accused of planning to physically harm somebody, harm an elected representative, right? But the issue is, I was not even present when the protest was happening. I was in a meeting with the government. We were having a meeting, and public was protesting outside. That's when the mob kind of got reactionary, and they started attacking the elected, our minister sir and MLA sir. But then since we are leading it, the allegations are all coming on us, right? Like, as if, like for example, attempt to murder, or others very grave things, even calling us anti-national. CM Khandu sir even called us anti-national, because we are opposing the dams, right? It does not make sense. That's why we really want to we want transparency from government of India. They need to disclose publicly of any information or what's happening in China. We already have some information, but we need the government to do that, not independently, because we don't want to hide. We don't want to act like criminals. We want to have an open talk with the government of India. We've been appealing the same to the state government, but of course they are not listening to us. Instead, they are cracking down on us. So similarly, like I said, like how I'm being criminalized, Igbo has been arrested 3-4 times, right? So what they do is they make us sign peace bonds. They peace bonds which are जिसका peace deed होता है 1,20,000 to 1 lakh we have to pay just for protesting. Imagine. So that is happening with us. That is happening with villagers, right? And it's continuously happening. So that is very important to highlight. It reminds me of what has happened, or of the whole anti-national rhetoric that's being applied in this dam issue, right? Which is very sad, because just because China is building dam, suddenly we are all anti-national, like as if us living downstream to China, we are not Indians, right? So this is the whole point. Uh, I'll try to speak in Hindi also. तो मेरा 4 पॉइंट होगा एलिजिड अकाउंट्स ऑफ करप्शन एंड ब्राइबरी टू साइन एमओयू फॉर पीएफआर. सो अभी आप देखा होगा रिसेंटली ये पीएफआर पीएफआर इज इन प्री फिजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट व्हिच इज द सर्वे ऑफ द डैम. उसके लिए वो किया है एमओयू साइन हुआ है बोल के सीएम इज अपलोडिंग अगेन एंड अगेन. CM is like the PR of this dam. Like Khandu sir keeps uploading that we are signing the project, right? But the thing is, this is not the situation on ground. Okay, what is happening is that forgery is happening even in signature. मतलब कि क्या हो रहा है कि बीजेपी अभी बीजेपी का मेंबर है ना. मतलब जैसे कि गांव में हम बीजेपी मेंबर है, लेट्स से आई एम अ बीजेपी, एक्चुअली आई डिड वोट फॉर बीजेपी, राइट? But I will not vote for BJP again. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say I'm a BJP member, right? So what the government is doing, that my MLA will come to me saying, you are my member, you have to sign this MOU, otherwise you will not get your membership privileges. That's the kind of pressure tactics they are applying. It has come to that level of desperation, right? That party workers are signing this MOU. Party workers, and then forgery. They're saying कि आपको एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट देगा, आपको एक स्कीम देगा, आप उसको साइन करो, and they're signing it, right? Because they believe in that person who's come to them, which is a local. ऐसे करके fake signatures लिया है, like not everybody's, but 17 households करके, and now they are portraying without consulting the Gram Sabha. While you are on the other hand, you are suspending the Gauburas, on the other hand, you are saying you're not even taking their consent, and you're forcing others to individuals to sign and saying that they are representing the villages, right? So that's why it has created like huge tensions within the villages. Like the village atmosphere is also completely corrupted now. Like even villagers are having to have physical confrontation with one another. It's not like a good situation, because they are criminalizing us and they are instigating a lot of violence unwanted, right? So I mean the government. So the forgery has happened. That's why, and that has all been nullified. I can give you all the nullified letters as well of the PFR sign that has been nullified, which is in written. It is in, some of them are written in our local Adi dialect, so that's why I had to write it in English. Most of our resolutions are passed in Adi, our Adi, dialect written form. So that's why it's very hard some news coming out. And then number 6 is the non-consented CSR come outreach activities, right? Okay, right. So this one is specifically from the PMO's office, Prime Minister office, right, sir? So Prime Minister's office has issued order to NHPC to sanction about 325 crores of pre-construction activity for the dam, right, from financial year 2022 to 2029, which is of 5 years. I think this is right before the elections, 2029 election, right? So again, I mean, I think any concise person understands what I'm trying to say. In the pretext of CSR, they are pumping in crores of money, right? from NHPC. It's indirect bribe basically. So we have completely stopped those activities. Like we have issued orders like locally on ground, like we are not allowing any of that money to come into function. But then another what my personal counter, like it is my personal counter. I would like media to note it also is because if NHPC or other corporations are going to do these development activities in the name of CSR, right? Like example, they are building schools, they're building hospitals, right? They're building gyms in the name of CSR. Then what will government do? That is my primary question. Okay, what are like? I mean, there are like thousands and thousands of crores being sanctioned from center to the state for our schools. Like Arunachal is like the least populated state in the country. So, and on top of that, you're getting CSR of crores to what? To fund a school which is a government school, right? Which is illegal. So that is illegal as per CSR, Act. So, so this is what I'm trying to highlight, right? Complete violation. Like there is no law and order situation. Complete violation. Even NHRC has taken suo moto cognizance of the issue. But then we are yet to like follow up. It's been over a month now, so we don't know what next after that. Okay, so now point number 7, second last point is that arbitrary orders by DC Siang, right, district administration to curb public protests and movements. So you will see what is happening is that let's say we are organizing a protest, peaceful dharna in a particular like area, right? So हम लोग को जाने भी नहीं दे रहा. They are issuing like section 144, section I think presently is section 163, na? They're issuing like that. They're blocking all the important roads, right? They're not letting us to go to the protest. And that is where again we become violent. Again we are having physical confrontation with the police. Barricades लगता है पूरा. So we have to like throw the barricade. Then they'll issue an order. They'll arrest. They'll detain leaders. 8 to 10 hours they'll keep in the police station or some hotel or some guest house. So like that. Beach mein, you must have seen the news of Ibo disappearing, right? That was also because he was getting arbitrarily detained, arbitrarily arrested in the wee hours of night. So Ibo had to escape kind of from the place, right? But then see this is what, no, this is not sustainable, right? If we are going to have to talk to the government, hiding is not sustainable. It's not going to work out for none of us. It's only going to just come down to like bloody affairs at the end of the day, right? It's only going to come down to like brutal physical confrontation. We don't want to do that. We want to engage. We are ready to talk to the government. We are very open. We are here. If the government wants to, let's say, talk to us, we'll always be there. But then that does not mean ki you bribe us. What is happening is like 10 crores ka offer diya ja raha hai, right? Like to sign, especially to forefront leaders, right? To sign the MOU, to do this, give us information, all that politics happening. So okay, and my final point is there is a high court case, number for 10 to 14, 10/14 High Court, Guwahati High Court case, which was filed by our members, seniors, which the Guwahati High Court, it was dismissed in 2022 December 2022, saying that government should not like force the dam. You should, even if you're going to build a dam, you need to take consent, proper rehabilitation, everything. Only then you can build the dam, right? The High Court has clearly issued like a very clear order, against this petition. But then this is also completely violated now. So we are like, we want to approach to the courts, right? But we also want to approach to the media, to anybody listening, to the government of India, that we are very, very, under a lot of like distress, and it's very unfortunate that our seniors, especially our grand, have to like come on the road every other day protesting. Every other day. Yesterday there was a protest, right? Every other day people are protesting, especially our village elders. Like, which is a very sad thing for us, right? So that's why we are here. We appeal to stop forcing like this, and whether it's leader of opposition, whether it's like BJP or whoever, right? Like, they need to like stop with this. So and the final point, like I started with, right, is to the I'll just read it out. The government of India, we demand and appeal. Let's say we don't demand, we are just appealing at this point, right? That we appeal to government of India on full dimensions of the Yarlung Sangpo Dam at Medoc Kanti, Tibet, China, whose construction China started in July 2025. That all that dimensions of the dam be immediately made public, including the impact assessments, right, including the lower riparian impact assessments. So so on behalf of the people, we want to appeal to government of India that to disclose all this information publicly, and also publicly ask the Chinese government for this information immediately. uh, Please do everything you do, government of India. We appeal to you. Anything you do on the matter, especially dealing with the whole China dam building, please disclose it publicly. It should not be a hidden secret if it's of such a national importance. I think we need all the nations, like experts, legal, technical, scientists, or civil societies involvement, if it's going to be a national project, right? It should not be like this hidden key. You are militarizing us completely, arresting all of us, and then you are like not letting a word out, and then you are saying it's a national project. No, if it's a national project, let's be very, very clear about it, that it's of a very important issue, and that we need, like, an open table discussion, open transparent discussion, right? Like, so let India should talk to China, Republic of China, government of China on this matter and disclose all the information publicly. Because as of now, what I am aware is that Sri Ajit Doval sir, right? He is the National Security Advisory Board, right, sir? So he is under discussion. He is looking into the memorandum between India and China of hydrological data sharing, right? He is looking into that as of now. So sir, Ajit sir also, please disclose the information publicly, right? Like, of what is happening. And with that, I would like to thank all the media fraternity. Our press release will be distributed to you. And then Ibo would like to speak about the what is happening in Arunachal in general. I just spoke about one case, right, which is Siang. There is Dibang Valley and there is Tawang and there are very other situations in Arunachal, right? So Ibo will be highlighting on that.
Thank you. So I've been giving a brief history about the dam issue. So in Arunachal, in the late 90s, the government started signing an MOU with the dam developers. So they've signed around more than 160 MOUs with the dam developers. Every rivers of our Arunachal has been sold out to the dam developers. However, due to some issues, many of the projects were scrapped. But as of now, there are still 140 on talks. तो उसके बाद क्या है कि recently 2 years back we did a protest because the hydropower minister, cabinet minister, had come to Itanagar to sign an MOU with the state government. जिसपे there were 13 MOUs being signed, which is of 2,000, 3,000, and then there are 1,500 megawatts dams. Now imagine in Manipur and in the Tripura, they are protesting against them, which is within 100 megawatt, which is 50, ranging between 50 to 80. But then out here in my district and even in the whole of Arunachal, they are planning to build 2,000, 3,000, and in my district, that is Dibang Valley. So I come from the Indian Missionary community. So there, already everything has been sanctioned. So they are building now 2,880 megawatt dam, which is the highest gravity dam in India. So we are the record holder now. Earlier it was Bakra Dam, but then as of now it's being under construction. So we are the record holder. And then, like I said, there have been more than 140 MOUs. That means upfront money has been taken by the state government, and there's no accountability of that fund. And now the situation is very bad over there. I can give you a brief history that there has been a rampant human rights violation. If the villagers, they don't agree, there is a pattern. So if the villagers don't agree, at the very last resort, they resort to the violence. So I can give you my example, my people's example, wherein Dibang Valley, my people unitedly opposed against Debunk multi-purpose project, which is 2,880 megawatt. And then what they do, like Banushi said, a lot of funds are being pumped to buy the leaders. So what they do usually, they try to buy the our community based. Since we are tribal, so we have an apex body on community base. So if I'm an Idu, so I'll have a Idu apex body. Just like that, if there is Adi, there are Adi apex body. So what the government would do, they would talk with the apex body, and then they'll try to buy them off, because villagers are farmers, so they don't know any technicality about it. So if the apex body is solved, so almost 50% of the work is done. So another 50%, you'll try to convince the villagers. If the villagers are not convinced, they'll try to convince the educated people from that villages, so that these educated people can convince the villagers. So these things have been happening. But then if none of those tricks works, so they resort to shooting. So it was in 2012 during the Dasera festival. My people were shot. Luckily, everyone survived, though the bullet went right through their thighs and hands. There were like more than 8-9 were injured, but then everyone survived. Now going back to 2016. So in the 2016, there is a district called Tawang. So Tawang is a district, home district of the current chief minister, Pema Khandu. So even there was a proposal of a dam, and then the people, especially the monks, the Buddhist monks, they were on the street protesting against this dam, and one of the leader, Gyatso, was arrested, and then Gyatso is also a monk. Now we can imagine that if some other normal people are doing that, they're protesting, they might be branded as anti-national, they might be branded as, because they have their own self-interest to negotiate. But then if a monk who has given up their materialistic world just to give it back to the Buddhism, and they are the one protesting in the street, that means we can get the idea how serious this case is. So they were protesting, and then 2 of the monks were shot and they died. This was in the year 2016. And moving forward, we had in between we had a chief minister, late Kalikopul. So he committed suicide. And in the suicide note, you'll get it in the scroll, you'll get it in the wire. It has been translated. It was in Hindi. They have all the copies in the, you can pull it on, from that website. So in there, late Kalikopul sir, who's a former chief minister, he wrote in his suicide note that the shooting that was done in the Tawang, where 2 of the monks were shot, the order was given by the chief minister. That was the allegation that was given by the dying who was about to commit suicide. So I'm trying to give you the picture how much human right violation is. And I'm a lawyer, and I do activism on the human rights and indigenous rights. So we've been trying to do that, and we are putting up complaints. We are putting up complaints with the NHRC. We are trying to put complaints with the SHRC. But in whole, as of today, we know the Modi regime, how strong the Modi regime is, and how our every machineries are with the government. Though we don't have the proof, but then it is implied, it is understood. It's very hard for us to fight, but then we are doing our best, and we know that not everyone. We know coming to Delhi, so I suggested my comrades and my SIFF. So SIFF is a Siang Indigenous Farmers Forum. They're basically all farmers. So I told them that it's better we come to Delhi, and we'll try to have a press briefing, because आप लोग का reach out बहुत ज़्यादा है. If we give a press briefing here, then I'm sure somewhere कहीं पे कोई होगा जो genuinely हम लोग को मदद करेंगे, and then our central government will listen to us, because the paramilitary comes under the Amit Shah. So if the Amit Shah has ordered, that means he knows very well what is happening back in state government, and it seems he's very indifferent towards. Maybe I'm just giving my opinion that he's very indifferent towards our demands or our prayers. But then now we have come to Delhi. I hope something changes. आप लोगों medium के through से. That's what we are trying to do. And then, like I said, the human right violation, the patents. So the patents is same as the Siang dam, which is of between 11 to 12,000 megawatt dam. So they tried buying the apex body, they tried buying the student unions, they tried buying the educated people. Now it's very easy to crush a simple farmers, a group of villagers. It's very easy to crush unless they get help from the intellectual, those who are educated in that village. But then if those educated people are bored, then it's very hard for them to survive. So we are doing our best. I'm helping. I'm not from that community. Adi, I'm Idu Mishmi. I'm trying to help them. But then, uh, like I said, if they have exhausted every tactics, then ultimately they'll resort to shooting. And I've told my Siang people as well, at some point of time, if we still resist, someone will die, someone will be shot. But then I hope before that, आप लोग का मीडियम को थ्रू से somewhere out there who is listening to us will listen to us. आप लोग का pressure को through से, that's what we have come for, and we have our allies coming from Joshimat activists, and then the Himkhan, and from Assam as well. So we are very thankful to our allies, and we are very thankful कि आप लोग आए हैं in such short notice. Thank you. So if there is any question, please feel free to ask.
So what exactly do you want from government to talk to China, get data from that side? And we do not have any kind of agreement, water agreement with China, right? So how do you think that government would approach? China never had any treaty with any country. All 13 countries surrounded by it. So in this situation, how do you think that government should approach and all?
I don't have the exact data, but then earlier hydrology data were being shared by both the countries, the China and then the India. But it has recently stopped since that our Jammu Kashmir issue, the border issue. Since then, they have stopped giving the hydrology data. So, and also like Bhanu had mentioned, it's not a singular gravity dam; it's a series of dams. So, but then the way our ministers are portraying that it's a huge 60,000 megawatt dam, and then they're going to use it as a water bomb. So we want the actual statement from the government, which the government is not giving. And we are pretty sure that the government knows about it, that it's not a singular dam, it's a multiple series of dams. So at least they would have given it officially, they would have been allowed.
You mean to say that government is creating a rumor
Yes,
about the
yeah.
China there?
that's definitely.
Yeah, it's like a fear-mongering technique, you know, like they're just playing clickbait, know, like China बोल के सबको चुप करा दिया. At least the India is mainstream India तो सब चुप हो गया once they started saying China, you know. But we are debunking it, everything. Yeah.
So when it is a Semitic zone, what sort of danger you have not depicted much on this subject.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say about the Semitic zone? This being earthquake, potential. So what do you have to say for that thing which can cause devastation in this area?
Yeah. So yes, I'd like to reply that. First of all, she had mentioned about the seismic zone, how high seismic zone Arunachal is, and also I would like to talk about the immediate global warming. So there is an immediate effect that we are facing. So my people are from the higher altitude. So we earlier back in olden days when we used to build house, we never needed a ceiling fan. We never needed ceiling fan during the peak summers. But as of today, in my district, my family's district, that is Anini. So in the Anini, people are buying rampantly a ceiling fan because there's no provision for the ceiling fan. So they buy the table fan. Now the reason being, during the summers now it has become very, very hot that they have to buy fan. Without that, they are not able to survive the summers. And the example I can give you is the Sikkim 2023 Tisachri Dam was devastated. That was because of the Lonak Lake, the glacial lake outburst. So back in the 90s, I'm just giving a rough estimation. It was just around 67 hectares, and then just before the breakage of that glacial lakes, it was around 167. So what I'm trying to tell you is that because of the global warming, the glaciers are melting, and the deposits, it has a limitation. And then suddenly there is a cloudburst. This will lead to the destructions, and then it will destroy everything what is on the path. So the same thing, the National Disaster Management of Delhi, the India National Disaster Management, they came this year and they had put out a report. So in the report, they flagged every glacial lakes in Arunachal which are immediate danger. So the proposed SUMP, so just above that there is a small village called Tuting. So in Tuting there is a lake, a glacial lake, and which is of A category. So there is a A, B, C category, the highest category being the A. So there is a level category, A level threat of glacial lakes. Now, when I talk about my Dibang district, they're highest. There are 4 to 5 A category, A level category of glacial lakes. Now, we cannot deny the fact that global warming is not there. So, few
Another question, what is the number of villages getting
May I
supported?
suggest
Yeah.
that you take questions from different people rather than two people asking one after the other question. Alright? So you please set up something.
Point to point.
I've been raising a hand.
Yes, please raise
Yeah,
the
thank
hand.
Two things. You have a long history in this country since independence of coming up with a high big plans. Alright? The biggest battle was fought by the Sardars. I think you should learn a lesson from them in devising your strategy. But despite a huge popular movement, they were made to fail. They didn't succeed. Okay, so that's one thing. Since you are at it, and I had participated in the dam protest in the valley for 7 days. There were thousands of people, all the villagers, but despite all that, they failed. Something you should keep in mind as you are now beginning on a large journey. Secondly, I'm a bit disturbed when you said that they are dividing people by paying money. That is going to be your biggest problem. If your own people are bought off within your own community, then they will set up a different narrative for you. So that has to be taken very seriously. Okay? Because I know in these places it's much easier to buy people because they don't have money. Okay? I know something about Northeast because though I'm not from there, but I've been married there for 5 decades. So I have some idea as to goes on there. So this is a very serious problem for you to handle it. Okay. And thirdly, I think it's very important that you mention the specific committee about what's happening because in the current situation, with the earthquake happening in many parts of the world, I think every 2 hours there is a reporting. Okay, from Russian eastern border to Philippines to Latin America. If you look at the daily reports, every 3-4 hours there have been more than 600 post 8.8 earthquake. So I think that is the point at this stage you must emphasize very seriously because they did not listen to this early. No, either that and particularly similar like in the Uttarakhand. Okay, this was a very big issue, but they didn't listen. But I think at this stage it might work.
Varun, can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, as you said that government spend of going ahead this 11,000 megawatt Siang dam is to counter Chinese 60,000 megawatt dam is a lie. Then what, according to you, could be the reason behind going ahead with this controversial dam? And number two, as we can see your Eliza here, would you like to take what we have seen what happened in Lower Subansiri hydropower project 2,000 megawatt? Would you like to take the help of Krishak Mukti Sangram Samiti like organizations so that your movement against this controversial dam now get stronger?
Okay. Should we take more questions?
No,
First?
my question is that how many number of villages getting served
Okay.
and number of people getting affected,
Okay.
number of districts and all. That's it.
Yes.
Okay. Any more questions?
So which are the tectonic plates which meet there and create a segregated zones?
Okay. Right. Okay, right. We'll try to finish these 3 questions, right? Okay. So I'm not a seismologist, but then I've done my fair share of study on especially information from China is very inaccessible, right? But then from what little we have gathered is that we are 100% sure it's not a singular dam. It's maybe it is definitely in terms of its capacity larger than the Three Gorges Dam, which is the largest dam in the world. In terms of electricity output, it's larger, but then it's not a single gravity dam. That is 100% sure from all the data. In fact, like I can quote from the Diplomat article. There was this article published last year by Diplomat. It talks about what I was initially talking about, right? Like as an integrated project. It's an integrated project with multiple reservoirs. Definitely more than two reservoirs are involved in it. It also includes, yes, the water could be, the Yarlung Sampo could be diverted, but that it does not mean it will become a water bomb because it's not essentially a gravity dam, right? There are different types of dams, right? Like so. Gravity would be the worst, right? But then how much we know of what is happening in China, even some Chinese news like I followed and seen, which was very hard to find, but I found it somehow, and I've shown that the construction had started, but then it is of more foundational for like multiple reservoirs. That is like what I have known from various sources, including from Sandarbh, right? There's this South Asian group, right? Like by Himanshu Thakkar sir, and various other Indian friends who have contributed to what I'm saying is a multiple reservoirs, right? And okay, so coming back to sir's question about sorry. Thank you so much, sir, for your suggestions, right? All the suggestions. Yeah, which is something I'm very weirded out because how come Sardar Sarovar Dam, like, the movement was a huge success, right? Like, how did that break? Would be an interesting way to look at it, right? Also, I know there has not been proper rehabilitation till date, right? And then one thing they were successful at was at least mobilizing the World Bank to withdraw the
They
loan.
withdrew, yes.
They withdrew as well, right? Which is a good thing. So, okay, sir. Then coming back to how many villages? 27 villages in total, 1.5 lakh population as per the last census, 2011 ka census. Not we don't have the current data. It could be more than that, right? And of course, we have to also look at in terms of like what could happen in future, right? We are not estimating the cost of future. We are only looking at what is present, right? We are not estimating what could happen later. And then, sir, a very interesting question from Assam, right? About the Lower Subansiri Dam. A similar movement is developing in Dibang Valley, sir. Sir, similar movement is developing in Lower Dibang Valley, right? Where the Dibang 3000 mega Dibang Dam is coming up. Like we are demanding for embankments in downstream. So, what I've noticed is that there is no provision for the downstream, especially downstream, no provision whatsoever in the relief. Sorry. So there is no whatsoever provisions for the downstream, especially Assam is always suffering from the dam-induced floods. Like monsoon though is like heavy in Arunachal, it's almost 6 months, right? Monsoon, like beyond the seasonal. So it rains a lot, and then there is this GLOF triggers happening, right? Then there's this GLOF trigger floods happening. It rains a lot, and then it cumulates to whole Guwahati is in underwater. Whatever you're seeing on news, right? Guwahati is always in underwater because of the dam water released from Subansiri and Kameng and other places, right? Including from other countries also, I suppose. But then that's the whole thing here, no? And then my personal opinion on this is I'm very critical about this, right? Okay, so the India lacks like a preventive, mechanism. India is more about relief and after the post damage control, right? Like flooding is one of the biggest example I've seen in the northeast, right? In Assam, for example, like it rains a lot and Tara PM care fund sub aega CSR, and then rain stop, all the funds stop, and then we are back to usual business. Huh? So it's like India is not. This is not sustainable. I mean, if I would not do that. I think focus more on alternatives and preventive measures, right, instead of relief. Also, one more thing why I am pointing this out particularly is because so I think government would already everything is government will say this to me, right? And in fact, DCMs are at counter saying that no, we are following all the procedure. Why are you talking about like CSR, right? See, my point is, on one hand, you don't have any preventive measures, you have all the relief measures, fine, that's good. But the preventive measures, let's say the environmental clearance, right, which is a very, very important thing, a very, very important, procedure, right? Like forest clearance, completely violated, if that is the only preventive measure India has for disasters, right? Like by development projects. Only preventive is really the environmental clearance, right? Like the environmental clearance is the only thing that is somehow holding the door, like Game of Thrones hold the door, But then even that is being cut, and then you want like Adani and Ambani to give you all the crores of CSR, and you are using that for relief, right? So basically, you are not functional, defunct of your system, right? It's the defunct. As well, how I saw notice. You are also for you are setting this huge stakeholders ship to Adani, and he's giving you CSR to do the remedy like flood control, disaster management, and you are violating the environmental clearance, right? So it does not make sense to me, So I hope it makes sense to you guys. But
Have you received the environmental clearance?
sorry?
These dam?
Yeah, they are completely violated. In fact,
No,
the
what I'm asking you, have they
no,
received
not
it?
not for
They haven't received it.
no. We are
Which
not
means the
even in
Ministry
the
of
public
Ministry of
hearing.
Environmental,
Yeah,
they have not given any clearance.
not yet.
Has they been asked?
No. We are not in that stage. But we are. I'm talking about the previous dam, like Debunk Dam. There is this case, sir. You can look about it. Like you can go to parivesh.com and also find the file. NGT का case है. Suomoto case था वो of non-compliance to forest clearance of Debunk Dam. So that has happened in Subansiri also. Okay, so thanks. That has happened in Subansiri also, Lower Subansiri project, non-compliance to environmental clearance. So that has happened 2 times now. So lucky, at least in the Congress time, I remember I was a kid back then, but the Debunk Dam was cancelled twice on the grounds of non-compliance to forest clearance, which was completely bulldozed when BJP in 2014, right? So that is the only one streak of hope, right, for us, which is environment, like do the environmental clearance properly, which is again not being done, and instead we are looking into more damage control situations, right? Like so, this is complete utilization of our resources, like without having any whatsoever, and consideration for us, like the humans and living beings, trees, ecosystem in it, right? And Debunk Dam, the coming up, there's another dam, 3,097 megawatt Italin Dam, right? Which has got its forest clearance, which was also we have been opposing it, and then it was also cancelled. नया MOU फिर कर दिया, then we protested, then he was in jail, So it's happening like that, and the MOU signing process completely like nobody knows कब you sign हो जाता है, right? Like, one of our politicians could be like going for a vacation at the MOU, and we'll have to like protest for like the next 50 years, 20 years, Like either the
That is what I asked the question.
Yeah.
If they can buy people, whether you are local people, whether those who are officially representing the villages, or whether the local official, how do you fight that?
What is your?
You see, that's the crucial question. Look, I saw the Terry Dam being built. Okay, the year before, the Terry town, which is the ancient town, was going to be submerged. I was there at that time. Okay, Sundarlal Bahuguna died protesting. Okay, now that dam is a serious problem.
He didn't die
It's a
protesting.
very dire issue. If that dam breaks, these places will be wiped out. The sheer scale of that dam, and it is downcoming, like you're mentioning about the case of Siang. It's a huge dam.
Siang Dam is a water bomb for us, like and for Assam and for Bangladesh. It's gonna wipe out everything, because there is this again. One more last point I want to mention is the Great China Quake. Okay, this in my research I found out about this dam which triggered an earthquake in China, which was in 2008. It's it's called Zidingpu Dam. I think it's the 175 meters, right? Which due to over siltation, no, because a gravity dam is like holding all the silt, right, like of the natural course of water. due to oversiltation, the dam, I think had some it impacted the whole movement, and then it triggered an earthquake, and more than I think 80,000 people died in that incident, and I think as per the news, like I think some 100,000 people were displaced in China. Okay, and this was pretty close. The epicenter was pretty close to where we are right now, because we are not very far from China. It's like 200 kilometers, 250 kilometers. It's very close, and the epicenter is right there. It's like right beneath our feet, right? So this is a very, very important issue. Sadly, like you said, sir, if villages can be bought, so can the CM, MLA, everybody can be bought, right? That's why it's becoming so hard for us. We know we are in the right, we have all the documents to argue. We are winning the case in court, but still yet somehow, we are in the losing front because the government is so corrupted, so corrupted. That's why we appeal to the civil societies, right? Like in civil societies, media house, to come in our solidarity, because despite having everything in place, despite doing everything we can, we're still losing to the amount of corruption that's happening, right? At the cost of everybody, not just like us, everybody, So
with such anomalies, you have been to the court. Why don't you go to the Supreme Court so that the entire, attention is on your cases and your anomalies can be looked after?
So we are working on that. We are working on it. It's just a bit complicated, right? Because again, yeah.
You have to go to High Court first,
Yeah.
and then later on to the Supreme Court if you don't get your anomalies rectified. Thank you very much.
So we have printed the press release. We'll just get it. I think
I think the Supreme
one
Court
correction.
might be one way of attracting attention, because at local level, the news doesn't come out. Nowadays, even one guy shows up and the Supreme Court accepts their petition, it immediately catches the hype, thing. So whether it works or not later on, but I think maybe worth trying out, because
If you create a furore, it will create a furore.
sir,
जब बड़े प्रोजेक्ट की बात आती है तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट हो या हाई कोर्ट, वो भी जो है सरकार के पक्ष में खड़ा होता
वो तो है।
है। उत्तराखंड में ही जो ऑल वेदर रोड है, उसके सिलसिले में हाई पावर कमेटी बनाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने। अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो हाई पावर कमेटी बनाई, हाई पावर कमेटी के जो चेयरमैन थे रवि चोपड़ा सर, उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं होना चाहिए, इतना 7 मीटर से ज्यादा चौड़ा सड़क नहीं होना चाहिए। गवर्नमेंट ने कह दिया कि हमको देश की सुरक्षा के लिए जरूरी है, और देश की सुरक्षा को बीच में लिया है।
जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी फेवर करती है, तो
आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला है हिमाचल के मामले में। वो कह रहे हैं कि हिमाचल में जो कुछ हो रहा है, अगर ये ऐसे ही चलता रहा, इसी तरह का विकास कार्य आप करते रहे, तो हिमाचल जो है दुनिया के नक्शे से, भारत के नक्शे से गायब हो जाएगा। ये कह रहा है सुप्रीम कोर्ट एक फैसले में। आज वो छपा है अखबार में। लेकिन वही सुप्रीम कोर्ट आज से कुछ समय पहले कह रहा था कि भाई देश की सुरक्षा के लिए ये जरूरी है, डैम जरूरी है, पर्यावरण जरूरी है, कि देश की सुरक्षा जरूरी है। तो हम तो उत्तराखंड से आ रहे हैं, और जोशीमठ बड़ा उदाहरण है, बड़ा आंदोलन 2023 में उसको लेकर के हुआ। जोशीमठ में जो हो रहा है वो बड़े डैम की वजह से हो रहा है, एनटीपीसी की परियोजना की वजह से हो रहा है। और जो ये बात कह रही है कि वहां भी ये सब प्रोटेस्ट हुआ, लड़ाई हुई, संघर्ष हुआ, उसके बावजूद सरकार बना रही है और लगातार लोग प्रभावित हो रहे हैं। और पूरे हिमालय में ये चल रहा है, चाहे हिमाचल में हो, अरुणाचल में हो, सिक्किम में हो, सब चल रहा है। और इस तरह की विकास परियोजनाएं पूरे हिमालय के लिए जो है खतरा बन रही है। लेकिन बावजूद इसके ये सब हो रहा है, उसके बावजूद सरकारों के पास ऐसा नहीं, प्रोटेस्ट हम लगातार 20-22 साल से हम लोग लड़ रहे हैं। या टिहरी के आपने उदाहरण दिया, या नर्मदा में लोग लड़े, सभी जगह अभी जंगल कट रहा है, पूरा छत्तीसगढ़ से लेके झारखंड से लेके सब जगह लोग लड़ाई कर रहे हैं, संघर्ष कर रहे हैं। क्योंकि सरकारें जो है, ये सवाल है पर्यावरण के सवाल, जिसको कि जो मतलब केवल पर्यावरण का सवाल नहीं है, कोई फैशन नहीं है, इससे जीवन जुड़ा हुआ है लोगों का। जैसे ये वो कह रहे हैं कि जो धरती के गर्म होने का जो संकट था, वो पहले लग रहा था कि बहुत दूर बात है, हम पे इस पर कोई असर नहीं पड़ रहा है, लेकिन वो बिल्कुल हमारे दरवाजे पर आ गया है। लोगों के जीवन पर उसका असर पड़ रहा है, मतलब हमारे फसल चक्र पर असर पड़ रहा है। वहाँ जो बेमौसमी बारिश हो रही है, अत्यधिक बारिश की, जैसे अभी हिमाचल में लगातार बादल फटने की घटनाएं उत्तराखंड में है, तो वो 2013 की बड़ी आपदा है, 20-22 हजार लोग केदारनाथ में मर गए। उसके बाद 2021 में आपदा आ गई, वही उत्तराखंड में 200 से ज्यादा लोग मर गए। ये लगातार हो रहा है और सरकारें इसकी उपेक्षा करती चली जा रही है। तो वो चाहे
ये जो अरुणाचल प्रदेश है, इसके बारे में जो पूरा संसार है, जो इंडिया है, वो इसके बारे में जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जो डायरेक्टिव्स देगा उससे शायद आप लोगों का कोई आपने मीडिया को कह दिया, अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट तो नेक्स्ट स्टेप है ना, आपके मिनिस्टर नहीं सुन रहे तो आप कहाँ जाएंगे, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ही जा सकते। तो कुछ एनोमली जो है आपकी वहाँ पे हो सकता है कि वो उनको देखें और उनके ऊपर कुछ बात करें, वो सरकार को और आपको भी मानने होगी, ये मेरा कहना है।
नहीं, वो तो बात आपको
मैं
ठीक है, जाना
जनरल
चाहिए,
बात कर रहा हूँ,
हाँ,
मैं
जाना
कोई
चाहिए।
ये नहीं कह रहा कि उनको वहाँ से कुछ मिल जाएगा, मैंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं कहा।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने तो
थोड़ा सा ये है,
आपने जो बात करी, रवि चोपड़ा रिजाइन भी कर दिया उस
हाँ,
कमेटी
रिजाइन
से,
करना।
इसके बावजूद भी उन्होंने नहीं सुना। अब हालत ये हो रही है, आप कहीं भी जाइए उत्तराखंड में, खतरा रहता है कि कब ये पहाड़ आपके सिर पे गिरने वाला है।
लगातार
मैं अभी 2 महीने पहले गया था, मैं आधा उत्तराखंडी हूँ,
मैं पूरा
पिथौरागढ़ में मेरी माँ का परिवार है,
अच्छा
मैं गया था वहां पर।
जी जी
हम तो वहाँ बचपन से जा रहे हैं,
हाँ
लेकिन अब डर लगता है जाने के लिए। वहाँ सड़कें तो आपने बना दी चौड़ी, लेकिन जितने पहाड़ अब गिर रहे हैं मैंने कभी नहीं देखा पहले। हाँ, और दूसरा ये है कि मीडिया कभी कवर नहीं करता है।
अरे देखिए ना, अरुणाचल से लोग आए हैं, हमको ये सारी खबर पता नहीं भले, क्योंकि हम लोग तो
जब तक मीडिया वालों के घर के ऊपर 2-4 ऐसे पढ़ न जाए तब तक वो आपकी बात नहीं सुनेंगे, लेकिन वो दिल्ली में बैठे हैं ना, यहाँ कुछ नहीं हो रहा उनको।
Oh, right. So I just want to add one more point, right? So there is the international court order. I just saw this news, right? That whenever an upstream country plans to build a dam on a shared river, for example, the Brahmaputra, there should be a joint EIA between the two countries. This is an international order, right? So with Supreme Court, we also have the ICC. You know, so I want to appeal again to the media, right? See, so the point of here is, of course, we need solidarity, but we are also giving you a lot of information because the national media is not present on ground. We are giving you all the facts and information which you may verify, right? And you may hold me accountable if there has to be such thing like that. But what I'm trying to say is, here today we want to tell you what's happening, na? Right? And we are really grateful for all the opinions you have, and we want to really make a very the only request we is ki remove the army, na? ये आर्मी को हटाओ, क्योंकि that is itself is creating a whole panic environment where things can escalate any moment. You know, it's like कुछ भी कभी भी हो सकता है. So let's not do this. You know, let's not take too many risks, right? Let's not like. So I appeal to the government of India, na, कि please remove the army from Siang, Upper Siang, East Siang, right? So that we can engage in dialogue. There are so many things. Right, like there is the Supreme Court, there is the High Court, right? Who are saying you could take consent from people. Then why are you violating? So who will hold these ministers, MLA accountable? Na? सिर्फ voting से तो नहीं हो सकता है. They have to be accountable, right? It can't just be कि election में सबको याद आएगा. ऐसे नहीं हो सकता ना. We have to take these MLAs, MPs also to the court, you know, because they are violating it. Yeah.
2026 में इलेक्शन है, आप इस बात को आगे बढ़ाए तो आपकी बात सुनी जाएगी।
Sir, this thing is
बात सुनी जाएगी, क्योंकि मैं ये कहता हूँ,
yeah.
क्योंकि इलेक्शन में वो they don't want to make you, you know,
Sir, they have been doing this. In fact, CM of Arunachal Pradesh, I will give you the press release, sir. I will give you all the video by electronic proof. CM Khandu, Pema Khandu on election, he इस बार भी बोला कि अगर आप लोगों को डैम नहीं चाहिए तो हम डैम नहीं बनाएगा, हमको वोट दो, बीजेपी को वोट दो, we won't make the dam. In fact, PM Modi's electoral campaign 2014 in Pasighat was that ki we will not make the Siang Dam, vote for me as the Prime Minister of India. Literally, he said it. Oh, it's on record. You know, it's on newspaper. So I don't know. Just because it's a democracy, you can't just get away lying all the time, right? Like, I mean, there has to be something about it. Done something about it. Democracy है तो कुछ भी बोल देगा क्या? ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, you know? So election में they always say we won't build a dam. I also voted BJP, right? Now I swear I will not give them vote again. You know, so.
बोलो मत।
So I want them to know, sir, Amit Shah, I want sir you to listen. We are not going to vote for you. You know, Amit Shah, Modi ji, आप लोगों को वोट नहीं देगा हमें से आप.
अरे बाबा ऐसे मत बोलो, आप अपने दिल में रखो।
That's it.
आप उनसे, they are big, you know, powerful people.
नहीं, एक चीज मैंने आपको आप जो बोले हैं ना, जो भानु बोल रही थी, इट्स नॉट दैट सरदार सरोवर में किसी को नहीं मिला, जो सरदार सरोवर है 60,000 family को either land or equivalent to 5 acres, 16
5
acres,
acres,
huh?
yeah.
That is after Supreme Court order. And Sardar Sarovar is the only example where 60,000, more than 1,60,000 families were affected.
Officially, yes.
I have been there multiple times.
Okay.
We have seen that, okay, rehabilitation plots, houses, money. Lot of people have, not everyone, but 60,000 plus have got this.
See, that
So
is why
it's
she
not,
raised
my
the
point
issue.
is not that everybody.
No, no, sir, सुनिए,
वो तो टिहरी में भी
बाद में जाके रिलीज कर दिया.
So that's the point.
नहीं सर, एक बात सुनिए. For a long time, जिन लोगों को वहां ले गए बड़े शहरों में सेटल करने के लिए, वो लोग लोहे की पट्टियां होती है ना, उन घरों में रह रहे थे, रिक्शा चला रहे थे, जो खेती करने वाले लोग. You know, compensation is the issue which we shouldn't even consider.
That is fine.
Because compensation
What
is
has happened because they said discussion was
see,
nobody has come.
because we have a long history and experiences, and we know compensation. Look, I give you best example. When they submerged the Terry down, which is the ancient time, okay, it's a mythological thing. What they did, they said, "हम आपको नया बना देंगे." So they sent some guys to Switzerland. वहाँ देख के आओ और उसी तरह का बना देंगे. Now you go and see the newly built Terry town, it's a horrible place. It's worse than the DDA construction. So that is the way they buy people.
Okay, and one more important news he wants to share.
So जैसा इन्होंने बताया था कि ना इन्होंने मतलब I know that I've been arrested multiple times. So even the UN had to question the government, जबकि आपको पता नहीं है. Our Office of Human Rights High Commission, जो UN के है, I was invited to speak in Jeddah as well. तो उस पे केंद्र सरकार को, to the central government, questions were put up by the OHC. ये बोलते कि आप लोग बार-बार because of the dam, why is the I or any मतलब बार-बार आवाज क्यों उठाया जा रहा है और arrest किया जा रहा है और इतना बड़ा बात है. None of the whole India knows about this. So with this we can get the idea कि कितना न्यूज़ को छुपा के रखा गया. So hopefully ये बस it just
It's a hard struggle, I'm telling you. We've gone through. I'm now 76. Okay, I lived through many of these things. I'm not an activist. I'm just an academic, but I myself involved in terms of keeping information wherever I can participate. But now today you are in a situation which is the toughest task. The total media will not even cover your thing. Whatever left now, of course, there is one is now available of the YouTube media. They are the one who are basically doing what the journalists are supposed to do. Okay, that's the one option you have. You must try that. There are many others who might be able to make the stories for you.
2-3 प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस और करिए ना आप. एक साल में एक करेंगे तो ये कुछ नहीं होगा. आप करते रहिए तो थोड़ा और देवी पे ये इसका इंप्रेशन जाएगा.
आप लोग का कांटेक्ट नंबर्स लिए है तो
दे दिया सब दे दिया.
फ्यूचर में we are going to do more. We might also do ये दिल्ली
चलो.
You should also invite the YouTubers for your thing. They're the only one who will actually come. All the best.
Everybody.
जितना हल्ला करेंगे उतना आपका काम और हल्ला करिए. ठीक है सर.
I'm